Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, good to be back with you again. And we have our next match here against Taputimu Youth. We are the home team. Remember, we all play on the same ground, so it doesn't really matter. We are 3 points now behind Ilawa and Toamata after our victory against them. And they have the goal differential advantage as well. So we've really got to play well if we're going to make it anywhere here. I'm not going to make any changes to this team because I don't trust my assistant manager anymore. That's the way to go. Let's see what we can do here. We'll go straight to the match. See what we can do here today. And let's see what we can do. All right. Few quick questions from the press. As you can see, and I've said this before, the real trick to success and popularity in Football Manager is always to choose the second from the left. If you choose the second from the left, you will always choose correctly, and the press will love you, and you'll be just fine. And the other key to success, of course, is winning, and we'll see if we can do that or not. So we end up, looks like, about a little bit behind Ilawa and Toamata, and we'd better hope that something happens. I believe before we went into this match that they had a 1-0 lead halfway through their match, and so we better hope that something good happens for us here. As I've said before, if we do wind up in second place at the end of the season, I may be tempted to move on to a different club, which, I mean, we're going to do anyway, right? But, without that Champions League next season, I've got to ask myself, what am I doing not being in the Oceania Champions League? So Fetuau with it over to Taumoa. Telma with it back to Fetuau. Fetuau lumps this one forward for Roy Ledoux. Not very well done. Roy Ledoux wins it back and then loses it right away. And that's kind of what happens at this level, isn't it? Now they have a counterattack of their own, and let's see if we can get our guys scurrying back in time. That was a pretty poor shot by them from a very far distance, and so that one ends up not hurting us too bad, but it could have been a lot worse. And so the score remains 0-0. However, here is a corner for them, and we are in real trouble. As I said before, if we lose this one, we're really in trouble. Ikuvalu makes the stop and then throws it over to Walter Assam, who isn't even paying attention. Walter Assam has his first start here this season, hasn't really been playing all that much. And boy, there's a pass in there up to Chris Famoana, who should have scored that. That ends up being saved by their keeper. So what looked like it was an awful mistake by Walter Assam ends up turning into a very good chance. And as I've said before, we're playing on the balanced mentality. We're not trying to attack as quickly as possible, and we're still playing pretty well. So let's see what we can do. We're playing pretty quickly is what I want to say. Maile just can't get on top of that one, and they've let Phil Collins there get behind everyone. I think his first name's Phil. Fortunately for us, his shot is nowhere near on target, and so that one goes over, and that's the end of that. And still 0-0. Ikuvala now with the ball. Knocks this one forward, exactly the opposite of what I told him to do. More poor decision-making, and we need to see what we can do to get this ball back. And let's see what we can do here. It's knocked forward to their Twala Lele, and that's a goal for them, and that's a problem for us. Taputimu Youth with the 1-0 lead. I think that we lost to them last time as well, so this is of great concern. And this time we can't really blame the players on the squad because we have our best squad out there. That was just a really poor effort there by our left back, by Amisone, who's 34 and is retiring. That was really poorly done. He needs to actually play his position instead of sort of standing over wherever in the world he wants, and he has the 6.4 rating to show for it. And I'm a little bit worried. We're starting to see those bad match ratings. Here's Roy Ledoux with an attempt at a header on goal. He has it in point-blank range, and he can't quite make it happen, and we've seen that before. I was about to say, looking here at the crowd, we have a pretty good-sized crowd here today for one of our matches. Got to be over 500 at least. So at least we're getting people to come show up. Walter Assam over to Fawa Danielson, who avoids a tackle, lumps this one forward, and it was Taumoa who got a head onto that one over to Roy Ledoux. Ledoux finds Maile, back to Ledoux. I'm not sure what Maile is trying to do there. Taumoa now, we have numbers. We must have numbers, and then apparently we didn't. Papua with it over to Roy Ledoux, who lumps this one forward over to Fawa Danielson. And Fawa Danielson was offside, and it doesn't really matter. It wasn't much of a header anyway. Ikuvalu now with the ball, and he lumps this one far forward again, and I wish he wouldn't do that. Maile with it. Maile's got it. That was a little bit dangerous. We don't have much of a player advantage. Taumoa knocks this one forward, and nothing is doing. So I thought we got all that stuff undone in the tactic, and apparently we haven't. Although I think what's really going on is it's poor decision-making from the players. Walter Assam with his ball now. Over to Fawa Danielson. Fawa Danielson has it, and he's stripped of it as quickly as possible. And we got to get back onto this and get this ball back. We're going in the wrong direction. And let's see what we can do. And it's Swallow Lele who almost scores again. That one's off that post on the right side, and just barely out. Here's Roy Ledoux now with the corner. And it's Pinelli Collins, not Phil Collins. So much for using the name of a pop singer. This was Palipua with the header that went high up and above everybody's head and out for a goal kick for them. We are not playing very well. And Fetuau, it looks like he's the only player who's really shown up for this match. We need to get something going, or I'm not going to be on this team anymore. I'll tell you that. And we're going to have to make some changes here. Absolutely. So Seleni doesn't look like he wants to be out there. We're going to put Xavier in. We want, let's see here, auto size all columns. We're going to take away Amisone, who's been absolutely horrible. Put in Walter Assam on that side, and we'll put in Tia again, who is overall a better player. And then Famuan has been horrible. Put in Petupoli for him. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we can get some goals. We need to score 2 here because a draw doesn't help us that much. We only have 8 matches after this one, if my math is right, 8 or 7. So we are in trouble. We need to win. We absolutely need to win. If we lose this match, it's going to be a little bit too much for us to overcome. Fortunately for us, Collins, though he was able to win that one and our guys were just sort of standing there looking at their feet, he wasn't able to put it in the back of the net. It's over to Roy Ledoux, who lumps a little ball forward, and that's the end of the highlight all of a sudden. It was Fawa Danielson here with this good pass back over to Tia, and then Roy Ledoux did that little hesitation thing, which he shouldn't be doing. It's starting to drive me nuts. Tia here with the throw over to Xavier again. Xavier knocks this one forward, and he finds Maile, who loses the header as usual. Walter Assam over to Talmois. Talmois with it. He moves a little bit laterally. It ends up with Xavier, and then it's with Maile for a header, and that doesn't do much of anything. So we're still behind 1-0, and it's getting a little bit tense, I'll tell you that. And this is lumped forward over Fetuau, and then over to Palipua, to Talmois. Talmois finds Petupoli. There is Petupoli with the crossover to Roy Ledoux, who should have scored a goal there, and didn't hesitate at least, so that's a change. We're starting to get the match momentum on our side for a change here in this match. That's good. And unfortunately, the corner ended up being a whole bunch of nothing. So we can see, once again, I thought for sure that when this save, it would be good to have at least one player with some seniority. And he ended up costing us really the goal that has put them ahead here in this match. So we'll have to keep that in mind. So much for old players still being okay, though I will say that 34 here in American Samoa is probably pretty old. Fawa Danielson with it, and sort of lumps that one forward slowly, and that wasn't really much of an attempt. If he had crossed that one, we would have had a easy attempt on goal. And let's see what we can do here. This is lumped forward. Fetuau with it over to Fawa Danielson, over to Palipua. Palipua finds Xavier. Fawa Danielson out to Petupoli, back to Tia, and back to Palipua. Palipua with the ball finds Petupoli there on the run on the right side, and he's got to cross, if he can cross it here somewhere. Goes back to Xavier, and there's a cross in there to Maile, who somehow misses that one. I don't know how he missed that one. He hit the top crossbar and ended up going out. And that's a little bit frustrating. Fetuau is going to get to this ball just barely. Tamoa now to Petupoli, over to Roy Ledoux, to Maile, back to Walter Assam. Walter Assam with it back to Fetuau, and we're kind of dilly-dallying with the ball now. It's over to Palipua. Palipua lumps this one forward for Tia. Tia's got to look up to Xavier, and instead he just passes it backwards, trying to get it over to Petupoli. He just can't. Xavier now over to Talmois, to Fawa Danielson, and Petupoli, and there, finally, is the equalizer. And it is now 1-1. No, it's 1-0. They call that offside. So his run was mistimed, and that's a ridiculous offside call. That's ridiculous. He's right next. He's right next to the defensive player. That should have been called onside. That is one to complain about, and we very well might wind up losing this match. And here's Twalo Lele for another shot, and Ikuvalo almost knocks it into his own goal. Really, really poor effort by him. Walter Hassan then brings this one out. The center finds Xavier. Walter Hassan's played well today, played both sides. Fawa Danielson, that is left and right side. Fawa Danielson with it, passes back to Tia. Tia finds Petupoli, and that's out for a corner. And that's another one that really should have been a goal by Petupoli. So there you have it. And it's going to be Ledoux here with the corner. We got 20 minutes left, and we'll try to put on the pressure. And Fetuau knocks it up and over, and we're going to do something that I haven't done so far. We're going to, we're going to switch over here to a more positive mentality. and just hope we don't end up giving up goals behind us. But we need this ball to be thrust forward because we cannot afford a third loss. Xavier with it now, knocks us over to Walter Assam. Walter Assam over to Tamoa. Tamoa knocks that one forward, and that is just barely saved by their goaltender, and that was a pretty good idea. Fetoua looks tired again, but he always does, and they lump this one forward here. Fetoua gets over to its Ledoux, now to Walter Assam. Walter Assam back to Fetoua. Fetoua over to Tamoa. Walter Assam now to Maele. And Maele takes it up forward and then passes to Walter Assam. I don't know if he knows that we're on a positive mentality now, to Petupoli, and his header really wasn't a great attempt on goal, and we are still behind 1-0. And we are in trouble here. Let's see what we can do. It's Tia here with the ball for them, and I hope that they don't score another one. It looks like they might. Moe back to Lilo. Lilo with it. Poi Salah, and Fuao Danielson ends up saving that one. Over to Roy Ledoux, and he tries to find Petupoli, who I think was offside again. Xavier with it now. And he knocks this one forward for Petupoli, and that is a goal, and is going to be called offside. He was, I think, pretty clearly offside that time. So 10 more minutes left, and this has been a poor performance overall by this team. And I have a feeling that the video this afternoon will be job hunting, because I think that it is time to throw in the towel here. Walter Assam with it finds Maele. Maele over to Roy Ledoux. Roy Ledoux pushes this one forward for Petupoli, and we just can't quite get over onto that one. And it's Seong for them who ends up grabbing it, their keeper. Palepua now knocks this one back to Fawa Danielson, over and back to Palepua. Palepua lumps this one forward now, finds Petupoli, who lumps it over to Maele, and there is the equalizer, and he is onside. He is onside finally. No, they're going to say that he wasn't. There was an offside called here, and yep, there it is. There it is. Petupoli again doesn't know the offside rule and is lined up offside. Tia with the ball now. This is lumped forward again for Petupoli, who instead of crossing it right away decides to wait. Danielson over to Xavier. Everybody's scared of taking a shot. Ends up back here with Tamoa. Tamoa lumps this forward for Maele and then to Petupoli, and Maele is offside. So it's happened again. It's happened over and over and over again in this match, and this is going to end up being a loss for us. And yeah, this is going to be probably the end of the road here, because with us 6 points behind with about 7 games to go, I just don't see it happening. Unless we see some sort of miracle loss by them or something like that, there is a full-time whistle. And so we have lost this match. We had a 2.10 XG to their 0.61. We should have won. No question about this one. So fines are coming. 61% of the possession. It's not the tactic. It's the players. Talk to you guys later. Bye.